what are the seven deadly sins? What do they have to do with Christianity? How essential, how crucial they are to the religion? And what's the most challenging in our modern day?
Yeah, to name them, pride, envy, anger, sloth, avarice, gluttony, and lust are the seven deadly sins. Or called capital sins sometimes, from caput. They're the head sins from which things tend to flow. The most fundamental is pride. Probably most people today, if you talk about like vice or you talk about a deadly sin, they would think about lust. But the classical authors, including Dante, who does this pictorially, that's the least of the deadly sins is lust, because it's the one that's most sort of dependent upon the body and its passions and so on. The most important is pride. Pride is the deadliest of deadly sins, and it's very simple to see why. Pride is Augustine calls it incurvatus in se. I'm caved in around myself, like a black hole, right? To get into the scientific, but the black hole to me is a great symbol. That it's so heavy that it draws everything, including light. Nothing can escape from it. See, that's the sinner. We're all sinners. We're like black holes, that we draw everything into ourselves. So as a sinner, and look, I'll confess I'm a sinner. The temptation is, okay, this is the Bishop Barron moment, and I'm drawing you now into my world and so on. What that does is it kills us off, and it darkens life, and it makes it small and heavy and awful, right? It's like, but see, compared to the contrasting thing is when you're lost in a moment, you're not concerned about the impression I'm making. You're not concerned about drawing the world into yourself. You're not concerned about this monkey on my back that's always telling me, look good and sound right. But you're lost in something. You're just talking, to a friend, and the two of you together are discovering something true or beautiful. You're lost in a movie, or you're lost in a book. Those are the best moments in life. Those are the best because they're the least prideful moments, right? That's when the light comes out. I become radiant because I'm overcoming this tendency to fall in on myself. Dante is so good because the way he pictures Satan in Divine Comedy, and he's at the center of the earth, so like a black hole that way. Like he's at the center of gravity. He's at the heaviest place, and there's not fire where he is, but ice, which is much, much better image. That you're frozen in place and you're stuck, and he's got wings, right? And they used to be angel wings because he's an angel, but now they're like bat wings for Dante, and they're flapping, and all they're doing is making the world around him colder because he's ice. He's stuck in his own iciness. And then he's beating his wings over the ice, making everyone else colder. It's a great image. And then this is cool too, he has three faces, Satan, because he's the simulacrum of the Trinity. So every sinner thinks he's God. So I pretend I'm God. So he's got the three faces. And from all six eyes, he weeps. Also, from all three mouths, he's chewing a sinner. He's got Cassius, Brutus, and Judas in the three mouths, the three traitors. But I've always thought it's just a great image of all of us sinners is we're stuck. It's heavy. It's cold. We're chewing on our past resentments. We're weeping in our sadness, and we're making the world around us colder. It's beautiful. It's so that's pride. See, that's an image of pride, because Satan, that's his great sin, pride, which is why he needed Michael, right? Mikael, who's like God. So the great challenge to him, which we need all the time, is someone to say, wait a minute, you're not God. But the minute we say, I'm God, whew, black hole, I now cave in on myself. I suck everything into myself, and I turn into Dante's Satan. So that's a great image. That's pride. That's the most fundamental. That's the uber capital sin. It's all the other ones flow from that in a way.
So in general, empathy, humility, compassion, love thy neighbor is the way to fight the sin of pride.
Right, which is why the masters tend to say, this was St. Bernard was asked, what are the three most important virtues? And he said, humilitas, humilitas, and humilitas, because it's the opposite of pride.
Yeah.
So, but they're bringing Aquinas in again because we think, humility, I'm no good. That's not what it means at all. It means what I was describing before. When you You're just lost in something. You're just lost in it. My image, I live out in Santa Barbara, and I like to walk on the beach out there. And there's a section of the beach where they let the dogs, run free without leashes. And when you see a dog and he's well cared for and his master's right there, and the master's throwing the tennis ball out into the surf, and the dog goes galloping out into the surf, and he gets it with a big smile and comes running back. That's humility. That's an image of heaven, because he's just lost in that moment. He doesn't care about impressing anybody. He doesn't care about what people think of him. He's just lost in it. That's it. That's heaven, right? And those moments in our life when we get that, it's a little hint of paradise. But the trouble is, most of us live, frankly, most of the time in various levels of hell. And we're dealing with these deadly sins. Like envy flows from pride, because if I'm prideful, I'm a black hole, I'm in curvatus and say, I'm collapsed in. What am I really going to be concerned about? That guy's getting more attention than I am. That guy's richer than I am. That lady, she's got a bigger reputation than I do. And why don't I have that? Right? Mm-hmm. So envy is a very close daughter of pride. Anger flows from that. Why do I get angry? The dog isn't getting angry on the beach when he's running after the tennis ball, but I get angry all the time, sputter with anger when things aren't going my way, and you're insulting me, and you're not doing what I want, and I'm being hurt, my reputation. So anger flows from pride, All of them do. All of the deadly sins do.
So you said, I'm a sinner. So we're all sinners.
Yeah.
And you mentioned Satan. So there's heaven and hell. There's God and Satan. Where's the line between what it means to be good and not good enough? Or I hesitate to use the word sort of evil, but maybe overwhelmingly sinful. Where's the line between hell and heaven?
Think of them as limit concepts, maybe. They're like heuristic devices.
Yes.
So heaven would name this ultimate friendship with God. So think of the dog on the beach who is he's fallen in love with his environment, with his master, with the surf. He's just lost in it, right? Mm-hmm. He's forgotten himself. He's transcended himself and is now lost in the wonder of the beauty of that place. Now, imagine the limit of that is the friendship with God that we talked about. That I become the friend of God. I become so forgetful of myself, so lost in the beauty and truth and goodness of God that I found beatitudo, right? I found joy, the beatific vision, we call it. That's the limit case. That's where we're tending. That's where God wants us to go. Think of hell as the limit case in the opposite direction. That's curvatus in se. That's the black hole. And we're all sinners, meaning we're somewhere on that spectrum. We have good days and bad days, and we have good moments and bad moments. And I can be drawn toward sin. What's God's purpose on Christianity's reading is to bring us out of that, Now, where did he go? He went all the way into it to get us out of it. It's like pulling the sock back out. The sock's inside out. You have to go all the way in and pull it back out. And so God had to go all the way down, and there's the trajectory of the incarnation. Though he was in the form of God, this is St. Paul, Jesus did not deem equality with God a thing to be grasped at, but rather emptied himself and took the form of a slave, being born in the likeness of men. But then he was known to be of human estate, and he accepted even death on a cross. And so Paul imagines that the incarnation is this downward journey in order to get all of us, right? All of us who were stuck in our sin. And so, again, Paul says he became sin on the cross. It's a really, really powerful idea. He wasn't a sinner, because then he'd need to be saved too. He's not a sinner, but he entered into our dysfunction in order to pull us back out of it.